Well, I don't know if you feel like a right fucking plum. For some time now, I've been defending, if not agreeing with, necessarily Sargon, Dankula, people like that, and I still will defend them. You've got, or should have, the right to say whatever you want, hold whatever political opinions you want, and express them however you want. But I watched them slide to the right, and I think some of that blame has to be placed upon the people who continually lie about and demonise them. If they're already considered far right, where's the mileage in challenging it anymore? But this isn't something I can go along with. Joining Ukip. Now, Dankula's not really qualified in any way. Paul Joseph Watson has joined supposedly as a kind of soft coup to take it over, kind of like the way the Justice Democrats are trying to take over the Democratic Party in the US, but that's more about returning the Democratic Party to its original and traditional values, whereas the original and traditional values of Ukip are just as fucking terrible and horrible as their current values, and so on.
Well, Mr. Sambo Darky Coon, I've got your number. You're nicked.
Is there anything the matter, officer?
Oh, dear me. Don't we talk lovely, Mr. Rastus Chocolate Drop?
Sargon has perhaps wisely not gone all in his support. He has phrased it in the form of a Trumpian fuck you. The idea that I think quite a few people had that they would just vote Trump as a kind of nihilistic, iconoclastic way of saying fuck you to the establishment, trying to tear it all down and hopefully get it fixed next time around. And if Trump loses the next election, if he even stands, I guess there's some hope that someone will then set about repairing American democracy, but British democracy is in a far, far worse state. Dankula's a former communist. Paul Joseph Watson is a conspiracy theorist who rails against anything. Occasionally he turns up a decent news item, it does happen on occasion. Sargon founded the Liberalists, which I didn't agree with, but I supported because he was setting out to make something, to build something, rather than just bitching about everything. I know, it feels rich coming from me here. But still, all of you, collectively, have described yourselves in one way or another as being anti-authoritarian.
You've got to think for yourselves. You're all individuals. Yes, we're all individuals. You're all different. Yes, we are all different. I'm not.
And Ukip is authoritarian. I mean, its roots lie in the birch-em-and-flog-em wing of the Conservative Party, the intense end of the Eurosceptics, the Little Englanders. It doesn't get more archly conservative or authoritarian than that. It's the BNP in comfortable shoes. You know, they were described as far right by Far Right Watch, and I saw Dankula disagreed with that, but our Conservative government is far right. Ukip is slightly less to the right, but more authoritarian. Check it out. So what are supposed liberals and cultural libertarians doing supporting this? If your supposed concern is over people's rights and freedoms, then the best way to secure those rights and freedoms is to remain part of the EU and not to back far-right, archly authoritarian parties. I mean, it's the Conservatives that have brought in this porn ban, where you'll have to buy porn passes with the complicit assistance of sex-negative feminists, which is bizarre, but that's what happened. It's the Conservatives who've constantly tried to control the internet. It's the Conservatives who consistently sell out to businesses, so you might kiss net neutrality goodbye under the Conservatives. And the Ukip's just Conservatives by extension. It's the worst part of the Conservatives, the ones that were too authoritarian, too conservative, too anti-Europe for anyone else. And Europe is better for our rights. I know there's all this kerfuffle about the supposed ban on memes or whatever, but can we trust that any more than straight bananas or any of the other nonsense that has been passed out in the past? At least Europe has various guarantees of basic fundamental human rights. At least it has a written constitution that we can refer to. At least it has articles that include freedom of speech, albeit not strenuously enough asserted. But the European courts have traditionally been more liberal, more libertarian, more culturally libertarian, more accepting of difference, and have made rulings that have gone against our archly conservative government many a time, to the betterment of us all. I mean, this is a big part of why this archly conservative wing of our politics has long railed against Europe, because they want to be free to be authoritarian, and Europe has held them back. If your idea is that you want to take over an existing political party rather than building one up from the ground, because, you know, that sounds like a lot of hard work, then kind of fair enough, but Ukip doesn't make sense as the party to join or to usurp. The Liberal Democrats would. They're ones who are concerned with freedom. They're ones who haven't been completely wiped off the map. Ones who would be sympathetic to a lot of your arguments about free expression and so forth. But then, they're pro-Europe, aren't they? But of course they're pro-Europe in part because of their concerns about human rights and so on. None of this makes any sense. All of it does is feed your enemies, and if you're genuine and sincere, then you're going into an arena where I can no longer follow or defend you. I'll defend your rights, sure, to say what you want, but not to try and impose on others. And in backing an authoritarian right political party, however irrelevant it might have become, you lose me. Not that that will probably keep you up at night or anything, but there you go. No, this doesn't represent me moving to the other side of the argument or becoming an SJW or whatever else. I'm contrarian, I'm anti-authoritarian, and I don't care whether that authority claims to be left-wing or right-wing. I just cannot abide people I at least somewhat respected just apparently just giving up and moving to the far right, and it just makes a nonsense of everything. They might be for free speech so far as it extends to their ability to express views which might be considered bigoted in some quarters, or definitely are bigoted in some instances, and fair enough, but they will be happy, more than happy, to restrict other forms of expression, sexual expression, artistic expression, all that kind of thing. They'll be perfectly happy to remove. It's just that they're on the beating end rather than the holding end of the stick at the moment. It doesn't mean they're good people, or that they genuinely hold to the principles which you've said you do. Me, for better or for worse, I try to be a man of principle. I fail, everybody does, but I try, and I can't follow you here. You're welcome, people who watch my channel, to disagree with me. In fact, I welcome it. I don't want to be in a bubble of people who agree with me, and I hope that I serve that purpose for some of you. And I know this will probably cost me some subscribers and so on, but hopefully the good subscribers, the ones who I communicate with on a day-by-day basis, know me enough and value me enough to see that, yeah, I stick by what I mean. I say what I mean, I stick by it, and I'll call anyone out who breaches these things that I consider important. No matter if we've been allies in the past or enemies or whatever else. Makes no odds, and hopefully that's worth something to at least some of you. Zang. Old Fat Punks is part caper, part comedy, part nostalgia, and part commentary. It follows three aging punks as they build themselves up for one big, nihilistic last hurrah. You can buy Old Fat Punks at Amazon, Drive-Thru Fiction, or Lulu.com. Follow the links below or search on those sites.
When I was just a baby, my mama told me, son, always be a good boy, don't never play with guns. But I shot a man in Reno just to watch him die.
Now, where are the biggest waves in the world found?
Waikiki?
Waimea Bay.
Correct. Who rules the beaches?
Surfers rule!
Who rules the surfers?
That's Nazi!